This week I'm here to talk about one of the more repellent crimes of the Georgian period and one of the most unique items we have with which to study it. Now, the crime I'm talking about is a personal obsession of mine, that is body snatching. And the item, an actual diary and account book of one of the leading resurrection gangs of London. To give you a very brief, and I do mean very brief, history into why body snatching is a thing, basically, prior to 1825, we would send hanged criminals to anatomists to be used as dissection subjects for teaching, for research, and for the improvement of medicine. Then, the Murder Act of 1825 very much restricts the number of people that we're hanging. But that demand for cadavers for teaching and research hasn't gone away. And so a black market in human corpses develops. This market is filled by the body snatcher or the resurrectionist. Now, it's from one of these, Joshua Naples, that we, or should I say the Hunterian Museum at the Royal College of Surgeons, have the diary. And once you've mastered the art of reading Georgian handwriting, it's a goldmine of information into the people, haunts, profits and challenges of the body snatcher. So from a few of those entries, we can start to get a good idea of the amount of money that can be involved here. Take a look at this entry for the 2nd of February 1812. Sunday the 2nd, went to look out, met at 5 in the evening, went to the Green, got 7 large, 3 small. Same night, went to Wygate, 4 large and 3 small, took them to Bartholomew. For those of you not versed in body snatcher code, this says, went to check out cemeteries, then met at 5 in the evening, went to St Giles at Cripplegate and got the bodies of 7 adults and 3 children, and then on the same night went to Wygate and got the bodies of 4 adults and 2 children, and then took them to the 30 rooms at St Bartholomew's Hospital. So from this we get a crystal clear idea of just how many thefts can go on in one night between 6 people. A total of 11 adults and 5 children. And the going rate for these will be about £8 per adult and £3 per child. There's an even bigger haul on the 20th of February where they get 15 adults from St Pancras Cemetery. This is big money. Now the entry for 4th of February 1812 highlights them splitting the proceeds. Met at Bartholomew, settled each man's share, £21 9 shillings and 4pence. Met at night, went to Guy's and got 3 adults, took them to Bartholomew, at home all night. Now historians often say this, but £21 for a week is an awful lot of money. To put this into perspective, if we take a look at comparing similar work, equipment and the people who just might see this as an option. Just running this through a basic inflation calculator doesn't really do it justice. So consider someone like a construction labourer, someone who owns his own tools, particularly a shovel. In 1811, he will be on about 11 shillings per week for a full week's work. Today, he'll be on minimum wage, say 40 hours a week. At the time of recording, national minimum wage is £8.72 per hour, so our modern labourer is on £348.80 per week. Now, the body snatcher share per man is £21 9 shillings and 4pence, which is 39 times the normal labourer's wage. So to mirror this, our modern labourer will be looking at £13,603.20 for a week of night shifts. Then run that up across the 30 weeks of the dissecting season and you're looking at 1811 earnings of £643 per year. At a similar ratio, our modern labourer is now looking at £408,096. And he gets 5 months of the year off. Does that sound tempting to you? This sort of entry in the diary goes an awful long way to confirming to us why body snatching was so popular despite the repellent idea of it. One of the other glorious insights that the diary lays bare for us are the people that are buying these corpses. The entry for 8th of January 1812 states, took 4 to St Thomas's, came home, went to Mr Wilson and Mr Brooks. Dan got paid £8 8 shillings from Mr Wilson. I received £9 9 shillings from Mr Brooks. Came over to the borough, sold small for £1 10 shillings, received £4 4 shillings for an adult, at home all night. The two named gentlemen here are Mr James Wilson of the Anatomy School on Great Windmill Street and Joshua Brooks of the Blenheim Street Anatomy School. Another entry for 13th of January states, took 2 to Mr Brooks and 1 large and 1 small to Mr Bell, small to Mr Carpway, small to Mr Frampton, large small to Mr Klein. Mr Bell is the lead lecturer at Great Windmill Street Anatomy School and colleague to Mr Wilson that we've mentioned above. Mr Carpway is Joseph Constantine Carpway at the Dean Street Anatomy School, and some 4 years after this diary was written, he will be credited with performing the first rhinoplasty operation. Messrs Frampton and Klein are the most regular customers. Algernon Frampton Sr. of the London Hospital and St Bart's would buy 9 corpses from the gang, and Henry Klein, later to be president of the Royal College of Surgeons, was a reliable customer, taking at least 1 per month. Now, as well as a blissful insight into the money, the people and the locations, the diary gives us a true glimpse into life as a resurrectionist and some of the challenges that they faced. We take a look at this entry here. Friday the 17th, went and looked out. Came home, met at 11, party except Dan. Went to the hospital crib and got 4, was stopped by the patrols. Butler, horse and cart were taken by the patrols. Now, Butler was bailed the following day, and that's most likely by the gang's generous sponsor, leading surgeon Sir Astley Cooper. And it's not just patrols that could put a spanner in the works of the resurrectionists as well. This entry for the 7th of February tells us, Friday the 7th, met together, me and Butler went to Newington. Thing bad. Thing is resurrectionist slang for the body. And a bad thing is one that is way too decomposed when they got to it, and therefore no use to a surgeon or anatomy study. And just imagine the smell. Amusingly, it's not all arrests and putrid corpses. The diary gives us another common example of what can get in the way. Monday the 24th. Bill, Jack, Tom and Benjamin, with Nat Yer getting drunk. Obliged to come home in a coach, which prevented us going out to Harps. Harps being Harper's burial ground. But yes, the problem here is the bigger part of the gang were just unable to work because they were just too hammered. And it seems that even 200 years ago in the criminal fraternity, people would still pull a sickie because they were just too drunk. The diary itself is 16 pages and covers roughly 11 months with some gaps. It even contains a guide to the phases of the moon, because this is not a job to do under a full moon where you can be clearly seen. And it shows that these men are, although they're from the lower criminal end, they're not illiterate. They read, they write, they're numerate and can keep the books. This is intelligent, organised crime, not opportunistic at all. Now, the diary is now too fragile to be on open display. However, it can be viewed electronically by appointment at the Hunterian Museum, or if you just want to read the entries without having to decipher the handwriting, then the librarian James Blake Bailey of the Royal College of Surgeons wrote an excellent book about it, which has been placed in the public domain through the Gutenberg Project. It contains a complete transcript of the diary, and we have put a link to it in the description below. What makes this special is that most of our knowledge of body snatchers comes from court records when they were caught, which means that we can only ever really study the bad ones. This diary is the exploits of a gang who were good at what they did and really made a success of it. And the level of detail is dynamite for a criminal historian. Read it, enjoy, and thank you very much, Joshua Naples. See you next week.